Now Keir Starmer is in Washington, D.C., ahead of his first meeting with U.S. President Trump in the White House. Later, the Prime Minister has already reiterated his call for a U.S. security guarantee as part of any peace deal in Ukraine. Donald Trump says it should be Europe, not the United States, that should be responsible for Ukraine's security. Mr. Keir Starmer says that he wants to strike a new partnership with the U.S., calling Mr. Trump a friend of the U.K. Our political editor, Chris Mason, is following the visit. Well, hello from Washington. You know, we've only been here a couple of hours, and already we've been to the British Embassy. Why will the Prime Minister headed straight there from the plane to be greeted by someone? You might just recognize Lord Mandan, the new ambassador here, Foreign Secretary. David Lammy was there too. Why they wanted to woo members of the Trump administration, who had been invited to a drinks reception. And take a look at this. This is diplomacy in action. The Prime Minister saying he reckons he's got something in common with Elon Musk, the billionaire working for Donald Trump, who just recently was handed a chainsaw to try and demonstrate his ruthlessness at cutting through bureaucracy. We want to strike a new partnership. We share the view that our best days lie ahead, and you know, taking out a chainsaw isn't quite my style, but we are stripping away red tape and bureaucracy. Let's hear next then from Lord Mandan, who is making the case that the UK and the US have always been super close and should continue working really closely. I wouldn't say that we are being ear-encircled by our adversaries. We're certainly not. But they're doing a little bit of ganging up, and that's what's going to need us to be working hand in glove, shoulder to shoulder, even more than we do usually. And we're going to be doing it at a time when you have a leader in this country, in the president, who in my view is going to be a very consequential president for this country, indeed. So that big meeting for the Prime Minister with the president, just a few hours away now. Ukraine, the Middle East, trade, artificial intelligence, so much on the agenda and a huge amount at stake. Chris Mason for us there. Well, our North America correspondent, Merlin Thomas, explained more about ST's message for President Trump. We heard that Starmer called President Donald Trump a close friend and said that no relationship was more important than with the U.S., the relationship between the UK and the U.S., that very special relationship that their path has been so far emphasized between the two countries for so many years. And this line that you heard that Sta said, that actually he is stripping away red tape and bureaucracy, is almost a plea to the Trump administration that actually we have a lot more in common than you think we have. We know we're coming to closer ground with you, and so SAC is saying, we've cut back on foreign aid, we are upping our defense spending, and those are two things that he will be able to use as leverage, and things that he will say to Esther as plea to say, actually, we can meet halfway on this, and hopefully for Starmer, he'll be looking to make a deal. ST's meeting really comes at a quite critical juncture for both the UK and also Europe's relationship with the US, because he's sort of sandwiched in between two meetings so earlier. This week we saw President Macron visit the White House, and the photos that we saw were very chummy. The two leaders, President Macron and President Trump, were very flattering towards each other. And then we'll see later this week, we're expecting to see the Ukrainian President Zelensky, arrive in the White House as well. That's expected to take place on Friday, according to President Trump, and that's with regards to the mineral resources deal that is being worked on and negotiated, and we're still yet to see the actual details of that. And so Starmer's visit really comes in between those two things. And so will he be able to capitalize on what President Macron has already done in terms of relationships between the US and Europe? And will he be able to have any sway on what happens with the US security guarantees in Ukraine? Really, Saxtor is trying to reclaim a role in the world order that President Trump really seems to continuously be